So today I want to talk about something very interesting, which I've been thinking about for many weeks now. And it is a very interesting concept that I've just realized, and that is that what if simplicity is actually what creates reality? What if reality is not actually created by some complex computation or code, but it's actually created by the most simplest thing that exists, and that is just set theory mathematics. So if you understand set theory and mathematics, you actually understand the universe. So why do I believe this? Well, because when you really think about it, the entire reality, it looks very complex. But this complexity is not actually about amount. It is about the types of differentialities. Because when one thing looks very complex, it is not that it's created by many things. Is that it's created by many things which aren't actually many things, but they're actually just many unrelated things which are very different from one another. But the baseline of reality, the baseline sort of code for reality, the codes which codes this entire existence will always be simpler than its creation. And think about this logically. Let's say that I give you a mathematical set like empty set, right? And on top of this empty set, the entire universe can exist, because the empty set is the most simplest computation that exists. In this empty set, you can sort of create all other sets, almost all other sets. Now, of course, the empty set is not the most simplest that exists. The most simplest things that exist is just an element, right? The element like A, B, C, and D. And these elements obviously are empty. They do not have any properties that we can describe in our consciousness. But of course, the set theory, in science is not defined as the feature that creates reality. It doesn't have this popular, popularity in it, simply because it's similar to the Mandelbrot set, right? So the Mandelbrot set is a set that contains infinite structures within it. And the same thing applies to set theory. The set theory can create entire existence, entire reality, entire universe. Because it's infinite, the universe is fundamentally infinitely complex. And if something is infinitely complex, it by definition has to be created by something so simple that not even human language can describe it properly. Because the more simple something is, the more complex, the more different unrelated things it can produce. And those unrelated things between each other have to be so unrelated that the baseline sort of similarity has to be so simple, right? It has to be the most simplest which can exist. And we see this like, for example, an IQ, right? An IQ test is designed to test exactly that. An IQ test is designed to test how simple is actually your brain, not how complex your brain is. Because the more simple your brain is, it can produce potentially the more complex, novel ideas, right? Because the more novel things are, the more unrelated they are, and the more unrelated they are, the factor between them, the similarity between them, is obviously extremely simple, right? It's extremely simple computation, and so that's maybe how reality was created. Reality was most likely created by something so simple that it created the most complex, something infinitely complex, such as, for example, set theory. But even set theory is not really the simplest that exists, because even set theory has its limitations for producing infinite complexity. Now, of course, it already produces infinity, but it doesn't produce the largest possible infinity, because there are more types of infinities, and some infinities are obviously just larger than other infinities. So yeah, that's what I think. Like, if you understand set theory, like, for example, elements, unity, certain types of like sets and how they work and how they produce other sets, then you really understand how the universe functions. And you also understand how time works, and you also understand how the brain works and how intelligence works, because intelligence is nothing but how many complex things can I understand and comprehend and even react to properly. So yeah, what do you guys think? Because I think this is some meta cognition.